Hello YouTube, this is Ezekiel doing another after action report between Dutch Grenadier and Stratswitch. This is part 7 of this ongoing 12,000 point monster battle. Where we left off, the Germans were hard pressed and the Americans were really pushing the advantage. So we'll just kick it off here. We'll start on Dutch's left flank with the Waffen SS. This is a flank that's being very slowly rolled up. Some artillery coming down. It looks like this is the remnants of that force that came over from the extreme left flank, and they're under some real pressure. High explosive shells landing around them. Remember, there's a lot of tanks over here, American Shermans and M10s. Actually, could be mortar fire, actually. Maybe the American brought in some mortars. We'll have to check that out from the American side. Meanwhile, in the centre, oh, so we've got some damage over there. Americans hold the objective still, some Germans still close by. Looks like they've got a bit of odd fire but exchanging between the two sides. Oh, so a little bit more than just a little bit. So yeah, definitely still some small arms fire. Germans have got really good equipment though, being the Waffen SS. So even just a few Germans can cause some real casualties for the American infantry, if they catch them in the right time. Moving across though, let's find out what that penetrating hit was. Right at the end of the game, sorry, end of the turn. Looks like another half track got hit. That actually could be from over here. Could be from that armoured car. Back that up a little bit. Yep, sure it was. A few screams. Yeah, looks like the armoured car. The lone armoured car. Got a very nice long range shot. Only a 50mm armoured car, but that's a very, very light skinned half track. And over here, the Germans still hold this objective very, very securely for the moment. With that, still got a bit of a screening line out the front, what remains of that platoon that went forward. So still definitely the ball's still in the Americans' court, but the Germans still have a few options to play with. We'll have to see what they do. We'll switch now over to Stratswitz and the Americans. Welcome back. It's the same turn now from the Americans' point of view. Start off with, looks like a Sherman over here, got another kill, another half track went. Missed that the last time.
Fire for effect, over.
Sure enough, those poor troops who are suffering in there, looks like under on-map mortar fire.
Fire out. Roger, fire for effect.
Meanwhile, the trucks and that over here are under some fire. I think it's just some light arm fire though, nothing to worry about. Still happening really quite slowly actually, but looks like there's some movement pressing forward, some bit of a scouting team going out. Stratswitz may be a bit concerned there could be some more Germans hidden in this area here. Let's try and move forward, draw their fire. Meanwhile, he's very, very content just to sit here and play with rifle fire back and forth with a few Germans. Saying that, I did notice when I was reviewing this, I think the Germans do actually get a kill. Nice little Americans here pressing down the street again. Had some little trouble this street in previous turns.
Fire perfect. Over. Right. Fire mission request.
But they're definitely pressing forward just to keep their eyes on the Germans.
Roger. Fire perfect.
Hey, one little soldier. time those Americans push forward, they're always pushed back by the or killed by by those German MG-42s. Stratzwich could really push the Germans out of that building quite easily if he moved a lot of his forces up at once, but that does leave a little bit of risk there if they do take some considerable casualties. Could weaken this whole objective. But he does have, the thing is, he does have the spare troops back here. Look at another whole platoon. At the very least, not to mention what's over here. Oh, actually, there's not much over there. So maybe he's doing the right thing just to hold still. Lots of supporting troops still back here. He could press forward. Another assaulting company ready to pounce, but I doubt very much he's going to move on that objective without some softening up first. Let's just hit that button there. Good time to mention, actually. You may notice everything's changed a little bit. Market Garden is indeed released, as well as the patch, probably the first patch since its release. So basically, it's been a few months since I've done some recording for this. Just let the turns roll in until they build up again. Then I'm going to go do this as a bit of a push forward in one big lot. Just went down through and updated and cleaned out some of the mods. The big mod is, of course, this UI interface. This is Juju's version 3 of his mod, which is very, very streamlined and very pretty, as well as, of course, Marco Bergman's silhouettes and all that. I don't use mods portraits, you may have noticed in my videos. I just always tend to have liked the standard portraits as personal preference. In the meantime, let's just have a quick look at if I can find a forward observer. Where's a forward observer? There's one. Okay, so we've still got the air attack coming in, and looks like we've got a bit of an artillery, probably mortar strike there. It'll be interesting when that comes in. Still 5 minutes away. Meanwhile, on-map mortars. Oh, okay, what's this? Okay, so he's bringing in some howitzers just on this little bit here. Go-to spotter. And, okay, so 3 minutes to delivery. I think I might have picked this up in the other few months ago in my previous recordings. But, so there is going to be some artillery fire coming down. It's only a harass mission for maximum. So just going to let it keep just dropping artillery down. Maybe he's just going to do that while he advances. And then call it off as he gets close. That could be the thing. I'm actually quite surprised there. Personally, I'm more of a pound them into the dirt type person. Do that first and then move up. Hang on, sorry. But he's also got the larger 105 howitzers as well on the same spot. Again, on a harass order. So I think within 5 minutes or so, you've got that artillery falling. You've got the airstrike here. I think that's going to be when Stratzwich is going to try and pounce on this objective. As I said in previous videos, I don't look ahead. I'm only watching it as you're watching it. So we'll see if that is indeed the plan of attack. We'll switch now back to Dutch Grenadier in the next turn. Okay, welcome back to the next turn. Let's see what's going to happen. Basically, one thing I did notice, it looks like there's a bit of a redeployment going on over here. Good idea of what Dutch has for future intentions. Basically, looks like we've got a very, very thin line now over here to hold up the German flank. But it looks like he's going to try and consolidate his forces around this objective. That's the obvious next American attack. Saying that, though, he does also hold that objective, so he does still hold two objectives. It may look like the Americans are dominating this map, but he does still have some pretty good defensive positions. Setting up some mortars here by the looks of it, possibly. Yeah, 81mm on-map mortars, can call those in for support. But we've got another whole supporting platoon here. More 81mm mortars, not a lot of ammo left, but some remnants of that force. So definitely an eye out in the future. Let's see what this platoon does. See him there. He doubt it, but he could probe forward again, saying that he doesn't got really any need to, I don't think. One thing I did notice was over here, a little bit of small arms action you don't see very often. We got a platoon leader that's been sitting here being the eyes on this flank. And we just fall forward a little bit. Yeah, we may just go a little bit more. So all through the turn, seeing these Jeep come right up alongside them. First throw is a little bad. Have another shot with a grenade. Takes out his passenger. That Jeep is saving that guy's life. Okay, and yeah, that Jeep driver, yeah, holding a grease gun. Don't see many of those in game. There we go. So very nice weapon. I think that's also modded now too. Someone's got in there and done all the American weapons. Could be Aris. I'm not too sure on that one, but very pretty indeed. So that's really all that happened this turn. The odd mortar fire as well in the centre as usual. But I'll switch over to Stratswitz now and see what he did. Okay, welcome back. Still got some real heavy fire falling onto this little farmhouse here. Doesn't have eyes on any Germans. I'm guessing he's just doing a lot of area fire here. Yeah, it looks like a lot of long-range area fire. So they're still start really watching the ammo levels, I think. Saying that though, maybe these troops aren't going to be involved in the battle much more. They've already sort of done their part. You got to admit, if you were Stratswitz, you'd be wondering if anyone really could be alive in this vicinity anymore. Yeah, looks like mortars are yep, on map mortars are firing in support as well. Looks like line of sight as well. Yeah, some mortars back here. Meanwhile, let's see what that Jeep saw. That was really quite funny. Let's back it up a bit. Can't see anything. Sound contact. Oh crap! So one of the back grenades did actually take out the Jeep. Wounded the commander in the Jeep. Second round of grenades kills the commander, and the Jeep wreck saves the driver's life as he runs to the trees. The question is he really going to last that long? Okay, I think we'll leave it there for this turn. Switch back over to Dutch Grenadier and the next turn. Okay, welcome back to the next turn. Pick up where we left off, and this redeployment is continuing. Looks like those vehicles are going to make it probably this turn or next. Definitely still some fire going on between this open area, as you can hear. And there's the first spotting round, you'd say, from those American artillery missions falling onto this objective. So that first one's probably right on target, so I wouldn't be surprised if fire for effect order comes through this turn. We'll have to find that out when we switch over to the Americans. On this side, however, just back this up a little bit. And probably go one more. Americans take some fire over here. And it looks like it's from the rear there. Yep, so those little remaining half tracks, they're still causing some bit of a nuisance for Stratswitz. That could be a little bit dangerous. It could give Dutch Grenadier a bit of a lifeline in terms of time. all those little nitpicks that really just ebb away at your confidence. You know, you'd be thinking that this flank would be very, very secure for your strats, but then you suddenly see that happen. You think, oh, you know, you could blow out the threat to more than it really is. So it'd be interesting to see how he responds to that. If he decides to switch this force here back around to the rear, or does he just ignore those because it's not an objective and actually keeps remaining confident and pushing on? So that could work out pretty good for Dutch. Over here though, his picket line still gets picked away at. Really, really bad pun. Probably just going to clear that line up before moving in under the cover of the artillery, I'd say. Okay, then we'll see that turn again now from Stratswitz's viewpoint. Okay, welcome back. From the Americans on the American left flank, you can see they can get good eyes on. They can see this force redeploying and reinforcing La Bignette, including Panzer IV. So they're all getting good eyes on. Meanwhile, looks like I've got some vehicle movement. Bit of a redeployment further to the left. And looks like he set up a light gun, 57mm gun, just basically to cover, spot any of that light armour or armoured cars that is being a bit of a nuisance. But as you can see, still sitting very, very still, not wanting to move further. Gonna wait for that artillery to come down. Now this is interesting over here when I was reviewing this side. There's that half track. Loses his driver. So it was just a bit of a probing half track. That half track's gonna be sitting there useless now for the rest of the battle. But nothing wrong with the vehicle, but just lost all its crew. So I'm interested to see how Stratswitz does actually decide to address that. Let's just have a quick look at that support, because I think that support's going to dictate the next movements on the Allied side. And it's a lot of support, so still 5 minutes away on that part, but this part, these ones here, which are going in on the objective area, they're still spotting, even though we had that round that was landed right on target during that turn. So maybe next turn. Only fired 2 spotting rounds there and 1 there, so right on target really early on, so that's really good. Okay, we'll switch over to the next turn. Okay, welcome back to the next turn. And we're off again. You see this force has arrived. So they'll probably start... we've got artillery falling around us. So they'll probably start maybe redeploying, or maybe actually want to hold still until that artillery ends up falling where it's meant to. Meanwhile, I've got a Panzer IV swinging around further to the right flank here. Probably thinks quite confidently this area is quite secure for anti-armour. So, could get some quick, cheap shots onto this infantry force here. Meanwhile, yeah, that artillery is falling right on target, so we have to really see. I think that mission has officially started. And we've got some movement in the centre here. Where are they running off to? Oh, okay. Takes him under some long-range MG fire. Looks like he's sending out another. Looks like Stratswitz here is sending out another probe. Just to occupy these buildings, just to make sure they're clear. But one thing I did notice over here when I was reviewing this turn is this half track. So if we back it up, hit, that's what I'm looking for. Heavy fire incoming. And got some penetrating hits and tracks. scaring the troops in the back here. So why I want to highlight that, the good little bit of micromanagement here by Stratswitz, something that I've noticed he's really good at. The fire, you can actually see this fire from this observation point here. Doesn't want to reveal these guys' position though. But the good bit of micro is this is a half track, lost its crew, lost its gunner, but you can see here it's got another infantry force in the back, and that infantry force is manning that turret. Now, basically, why it's a good little bit of micro is because it's, think about it, that's probably one guy that maybe with an M1 or a carbine, and pretty much next to useless by himself in the opens. But if he gets in the half track, mans that gun where the fallen crew members vacated. That's only a 50mm gun guy, and that can hurt half tracks. It can really force the enemy to redeploy. So really utilising that force until it's fully gone. So that's just what I want to highlight. It's a good little tip. If they've got those crew members just sitting around in the woods, trying to recover. Think about manning up those half-track guns. An extra MG42, an extra 50 cal could turn the tide of a flank. We'll just quickly, I know we're doing it a lot at the moment, but we'll just quickly check the. No, I can't do it on this turn because I'm still on the German turn. I was going to check the artillery orders, but we'll have to do that next turn. Okay, we're back with the American turn. And the key thing at the start of this turn here is two things.
Fire for effect, over.
That's one of them. And the second one is this here. Still seeing more of that force migrate over. And this tank coming around on his left flank. So the fact that this isn't secret anymore, Stratswitz can actually readjust to either avoid the tank or try and take it out with something. Just having a look here, what's he really got though? Some options if the Panzer IV decides to come right around, but I doubt that. But that's going to make it a little bit harder for any crossing of this open area. So that's sort of why I generally like going a little bit heavier than harass for most of my artillery missions. I really pounding them, pile on the hurt, pile on the morale problems. Hopefully get them to break. But that little force that was scouting ahead looks like they're going to make it with light casualties. And over here was something. Oh, that's right. Still lots of area fire. All this fire here is all area fire into this little barn house and that here. So, I wonder how long that's going to keep up. But here we've got, looks like we've got a platoon of infantry in strength. They're advancing through these fields, so scouting ahead of the main force. Saying that there's not much of a main force left. So they're probably going to try and link up here, make it a straight flank, and then they can worry about pressing on further. So that's probably why the area fire is still going, just in case those guys think about if there's anyone left there. I didn't actually look last time, just to see if they're going to move and occupy this tree line. But well, so far so good for the Americans still. So check this again. Yeah, I think we heard they're coming down. Just want to make sure which one is coming down. Okay, so the pack out says, oh wow, okay. They're going to fire, that one's approved. That one's still spotting, okay. But this one also got approved. 38 minutes though, wow. That's a long time to wait for artillery to come down. So yeah, so 38 minutes of very slow fire there. A small part of me as the recorder and thinking out for my viewers, I really hope any type of attack here is not going to take 38 minutes to start. But we'll have to wait and see with that one. The aircraft, 2 minutes away, so you should be able to hear some propeller planes. Propeller planes are great. This is being recorded post-Christmas, just a warning. We should be able to hear some a plane roaring overhead very, very soon. So we'll switch back now to Dutch Grenadier and the German turn. Okay, welcome back to the next turn. This is probably a very interesting turn, especially considering the boring ones we've had recently. Quite a lot is going to happen. First things first, took me by surprise. This force I thought was coming to reinforce Lamont here. No, a lot of them are actually still progressing further to Dutch Grenadier's right flank. So it looks like they're going to try and hold both. So this main urban area down here. The other interesting point is that artillery's starting to come down now. Dutch Grenadier gets the hint and starts pulling back, including his 2 Panzer IVs in this village. And then they start to fall on target. And there's that aircraft. That's P-47. Ouch. So there we go. It's starting to really hurt. Meanwhile, over here on La Bignette, that 50 cal half track, it's moving a little bit, getting eyes on over here to that remainder of that little team. Cuts them up the 50 mil. And there's that half track really deciding to get out of there. Interesting thing is, well, they can't see him at the moment for some reason. Don't know why. Okay. There we go. Just turn that off for a minute. Okay. So, I'm wondering why these guys aren't firing, and I thought they may have a small target arc, just they're not there to actually reveal their position. They're there just to simply eye off and try and get the ambush of any infantry come this way. However, they are actually on the second floor of these barns, so there's no windows, no openings to actually view anything. That's why they can't see the half track and they're not returning fire. Now, that could be on purpose. It could be there just to surprise anyone that decides to move into these barns, or it could be just to keep them safe for the time being. Yeah, that's a real funny one. I don't know what's in Dutch Grenadier's head there at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, any American infantry that move into this barn area, they're going to get a really nasty surprise in the form of MP40s and MG42s at close range. So that half track's really scarpered off now. And yeah. So a couple of very small teams around here still. Looks like we've got sound contact, so it looks like the Americans are going to push up outside of their objective area to kick those Germans out. And yes, we still do have forces over here. It looks like that area fire is slowly whittling them down. Nothing much left. But yeah, that's these little one-man teams, maybe two-man teams. I mean, if they can actually get across, get away from that area fire, load up on a half track, take the gun and keep pressing on, it would actually improve the firepower of this dwindling German force a little bit. And it looks like the Americans here are definitely rolling up that flank, still moving around here, so getting in behind as well could be very, very dangerous in the next few turns. Okay, we'll switch over now to the Americans. Okay, we're back now with the American turn, and interesting thing to note here is that very, very soon Straswitz does get good eyes on this force moving across. He gets some idea that there is a force moving across, I should say it's more accurate, doesn't know the full strength of it, but he does know Dutch is still redeploying. He also loses sight of the tanks, or sees the tanks reverse, so he knows there's some element pulling out. So there's that force moving to Stratswitz's left. Saying that he gets no real intel about what damage these howitzer rounds are doing. We do know aircraft. We do know those 2 rounds especially did cause some damage. Some really heavy fire here. It's still the howitzers though. But he doesn't know the damage that they're causing to the troops inside the buildings. Meanwhile, over at Lamont, yep. So there's that little sound contact. The Americans, sorry, have really pushed up now. Probably knows that this objective is pretty real secure at the moment, and the only real German threat now is in this farmhouse here. Still not even a sound contact from in here. These barns though, so could still be a surprise. Later on, especially if there's some of these Americans decide to start moving over to assist their buddies on this flank. We'll have to just wait and see. I think that's about it for this turn, so we'll switch over one last time for Dutch Grenadier and the Germans. Okay, we're back. And that heavy fire I was hearing from the Americans must have missed it the last turn, but Panzer IV gets some eyes on over here and is blasting some American infantry in the woods. Still nothing yet. The odd casualty in the background still. Some real lucky shots. Looks like that's from the heavier howitzer the Americans have. There's that Panzer IV though, really laying on the hurt. So redeployment continues. Be interesting to see what positions they decide to take up here. I mean, he's got to. I mean, it's a good move this, but Dutch should know there's virtually nothing over here in front of him. So it'll be interesting to see if he takes a real forward position here, or if he decides to sit back in the heavier buildings and let the Americans come to him. May not have that luxury. I think this objective is going to be very, very tightly pressed very soon, next 15 minutes or so, unless Stratswitz decides to sit there and wait for half an hour as the artillery comes down very slowly. So, I mean, time is definitely on Stratswitz's side here. Anyway, we'll switch over now to Stratswitz and the Americans one last time. Okay, here we go. Last bit of action for this video.
Fire for effect. Over.
And there we go, so that last howitzer mission should be ready to go. Coming down a La Bignet on a regular basis. And
Roger. Fire for effect.
thank you. And yeah, getting more eyes on this force. It's a decent force now, you can see, moving across to Jerks. Am I butchering that language? I'm not too sure. Jacques, I'm not too sure. Anyway, so it looks like he's happy to let them go at the moment. There's no real movement here to try and intercept them, even just infantry fire on those trucks. So it looks like the focus is definitely on La Bignet for the Americans. But there's this enormous supporting force back here of mortars and heavy machine guns. Problem is, they probably can't really redeploy either. There's nothing really. You'd have to get them right across here. Because there's really nowhere they can set up with some concealment and cover to fire onto that village. So that can be a very, very interesting tactical problem for Stratswitz down the road. However, I think at the moment it's going to be just worrying about La Bignet for him while holding Lamont. So moving a little bit more in the way of a scouting force ahead. So looks like we've got 2 teams up there now, and looks like that movement here is not stalled, but taking a knee. Looks like he's being very, very cautious on this approach. But what we can see with 2020 hindsight, it's probably a little too cautious. But as you can see, what he can actually view is very, very little indeed. So, so Dutch Grenadier is getting some time. Okay then, so we're seeing a massive redeployment. Got some artillery coming down, and we should be seeing some form of attack soonish. I know I think I've said that in the last few videos, but it looks like Stratswitch is very, very happy to wait around for a little bit. Anyway, at the moment, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, leave comments below. How do you think the battle's going? Who do you think's got the upper hand? And we'll see you next time.